Can you take me higher to a place where a blind man see? Ladies and gentlemen, it is a joyous day. It is a joyous day. And you know why it is a joyous day. Stand up, everybody. We're going to give a round of applause. Just a big round of applause to the Steelers front office organization. Mike Tomlin, thank you. Thank you. The bad man is gone. The bad man is gone. Welcome to the Don't Care Didn't Ask podcast, where today we will be talking about NFL opinions and news and whatever have you. First, before I get into the biggest news and my obvious opinion on it, I mean, I've talked about it, forever. We're going to do my picks from last week. 4-1 again, dude. 4-1 again. I should just, no parlays, straights for all these, because I've gone 4-1 and 3-2 a million times. I'd be so up. But Jags, minus 5.5 versus Tennessee. I really didn't think they were going to be shellacking them that horribly. But, I mean, they did. Jags are back after the tough loss to San Fran. Versus Tennessee. Will Levis doesn't look as good as I thought he did. Maybe it's just the organization. Maybe it's his team. Don't know. Hit D-Hop for a late touchdown late in the game, but that's pretty much it. Steelers plus 3.5. I knew taking the 2 extra points was going to help. I knew that. We lost by exactly 3, so that covered. And then the aftermath of it is just, it's exactly what you want to see. We'll get there later. Jets plus 7 versus Bills. This is the only miss. Jets give the Bills issues every single time they play, usually in the last couple of years. I really thought they were going to give them more problems, but Zach Wilson just simply isn't that good. He got demoted. We'll talk about that a little later. Dallas, minus 10.5 at the Panthers. Yeah, I told you, that line is big, but Dallas just destroys these little itty-bitty teams that, can't help themselves because they're big old bullies. Nah, I'm just kidding, man. Dallas is doing what they're doing. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Winning against teams they're supposed to be winning against, minus the Cardinals. So, I mean, I guess I can't talk too much crap on Dallas yet, but, we'll see. Vikings plus 3.5 at Broncos. Yeah, that hit as well. That covered. Vikings only lost by 1 with some really tough mistakes there toward the end, which we will talk about Kareem Jackson later on as well. But another 4-1 week, man. Honestly, I've stopped keeping track of my record. It is pretty positive. It is pretty good. But is what it is. The news for the week. So starting off last Thursday, Burrow injury, and then the subsequent controversy. Why wasn't he on the injury report? This, that, and the third. I don't really know how far the NFL is into this investigation. He did come in with something on his hand. Like the organization and Burrow, I think they made some sort of excuse for it. I don't really know what was going on. They could, I know, with stuff like this, usually you could lose a draft pick. You could get fined as an organization. Okay, I don't really care. Great for me as a Steelers fan. In division, bad for anybody who took the Bengals to cover last Thursday. So that is going to be something to watch. So the hip drop tackle discussion now, after Mark Andrews, out for season. Logan Wilson with a hat trick on Thursday. Actually, I forget who he got. Didn't he get Lamar too? Yeah, it's brutal. Lamar's still playing, but he's taking people out, dude. He's carrying on the legacy of Vontaze Burfict. But I don't know. There's now the hip drop tackle discussion where it's the NFL is the NFL wants to get rid of it, and some fans think people should get rid of it. I don't know, man. There's only so much you can do to these defenses now, dude. You've already taken away so much of their ability to affect a game with all the rules, so far. And I understand, player safety, and I understand the NFL is a bottom line organization, dude. It's about the money. So it's therefore about the players, because the best players are going to bring in the most views and the most money. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, I understand where the NFL has to head with it, but I don't know about, banning or flagging hip drop tackles, just because I feel like they happen a whole lot, and we're just not, when we see an injury from it, it's kind of ooh, and we're maybe that shouldn't be happening. I don't know. The NFL is going to come to whatever ruling they're going to come to on it, probably in the offseason. But personally, I don't really think it's too big of an issue. What do you guys think? Let me know. Tommy DeVito looking more like Tommy Brady, bro. 3 TDs on the commie's head, which I don't think anyone was expecting. Commanders' turnover issues last Sunday were really, really suspect. I want to ask you guys a question. Do you guys think the turnover issues are more on the players or more on the coaching? Because I've heard that you're either coaching it or you're allowing it, which no one's coaching to turn the ball over. But, as far as coaching not to allow it, like preaching, ball security, maybe that's not happening there in Washington. And I understand where you have to put some of it on the players, but the issue in Washington is way more than just last Sunday, man. It's a top-down thing. You got rid of the big bad, like Snyder. Like, now it's time to just whittle it down. You had yourself a quarterback. Sam Howell is a dog. That is the good news. Now, I think Del Rio and Rivera need to go, and you just kind of build it up from there. Build around Sam Howell. Don't waste that man's talent. He is pretty good. Deron Bland of the Cowboys. 4 pick sixes this season. It's week 11, which is pretty amazing. Some guys don't get 4 picks all year, so having 4 pick sixes is really cool. He's probably got more touchdowns than like a really disappointing receiver this season. So hats off to him. Again, the Cowboys keep winning however they want to win. So we will see. We will see how that all shakes out postseason. Zach Wilson demoted to 3rd string. Now, when they said he was gonna get benched for Tim Boyle, I thought he'd still be backup, but no, he's behind. Is it Simeon? Forgive me if it's not Simeon, but he's 3rd string. Which I feel like maybe they feel like, okay, we've seen enough of Zach. We know what Zach is. So we're just going to kind of go away from that. And then, of course, it's tough because A-Rod, the rumor is like, oh, he's on track to come back in like mid-December or whatever it is. It doesn't make much sense for him to come back if, the Jets lose this next game. And unfortunately for them, they do play the Dolphins. So they play the Dolphins with what is essentially a backup's backup. And I don't see them really coming out on top of that. They're going to be 4-6. Not really any reason for Rodgers to come back and risk anything. I was saying before the game, like if they can upset the Bills and then somehow, some way win next week, or even just split this two game stretch here, they would be in an okay spot for Rodgers to come back. Unfortunately, man, I don't think it's going to happen this year. Or at least it shouldn't. It would be a heck of a story, man, if Rodgers came back and like led them to the playoffs and then like to like the Super Bowl. Like that the script writers would have went crazy with that, but I guess they tried to take it a different direction this time. Wanted to give us a little teaser. And then Brandon Staley, post-game interview after losing to the Packers, got a little bit heated. I will play about 45 seconds of that.
To win every single week with the game plans that we have, okay? And we have done it here. You guys act like we've never played good defense. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. You act like we haven't made any improvements. Today, in the run game, we played outstanding. We're rushing the quarterback well. What we got to do a better job of is in the passing game. And that's where our full attention is, and it's where it will continue to be. There were a lot of other things that caused us to lose today. It certainly wasn't our defense. It was the way we played as a team. We didn't play well enough on the red zone on offense. We dropped too many passes, okay? We gave up a few killer sacks, okay? We did this as a team. Stop making it about one unit, because that's not what happened out there today. Our team lost. I'm not here to talk to the fan base. I'm here to
he still doesn't really get it. It's one thing to, yes, be a defensive coach and then to give up 41 last week to what is admittedly a good team in the Lions. Put up 38, give up 41, lose the game. It feels like, though, with the Chargers, if it's not one thing, it's the other. If the defense does do well, the offense didn't do well enough. You gave up 23 points to the Packers. Okay, maybe you shouldn't have, whatever, but only put up 20. Like, it's not even just the defense, and I don't think he understands that. It's that you have a loaded roster, possibly one of the most talented rosters in the NFL. Just like both sides of the ball. You have had a loaded roster for 3 years now. And I understand Herbert can be a little bit up and down. That doesn't change the fact that he's still absolutely amazing. It's the decisions that he makes that he just does not seem to have an answer for, that he just does not seem to want to justify. Stuff where everybody can be looking at it, millions of people through their TV, people in the stadium, announcers. I feel like other coaches see this and don't say anything about it because, but everybody can be looking at this and thinking, what is he thinking? Why are you doing this right now? And more often than not, doesn't really work out, and he gets criticized for it and just refuses to justify it. I saw like one of those like fake genius like pictures on Twitter where it has the lyrics. It has a picture of Brandon Staley and it's got Kanye. It's like, under more scrutiny, and what I do, act more stupidly. Like, no, literally. Like, the more pressure he's under, the more times like we like say like, hey, what are you doing? This is an idiotic decision. It seems like he just gets more and more stupid. So it's that part that he's not understanding. It doesn't matter that this particular Sunday your defense didn't do its job, or your defense never does its job. It's the fact that your defense probably isn't as good as it should be under a defensive coach, and the fact that you can't seem to get out of your own way and get out of your team's own way when it comes to winning games. You're wasting talent, and that's the whole bottom line. That's why everybody wants you out. It doesn't seem like he understands that, and I mean, there's people say every single week, I don't know how Brandon Staley keeps his job. I don't know how he keeps his job after this week. I mean, and at this point, I'm saying like he'll keep it. Like if they haven't gotten rid of him by now, like I don't know when they're gonna. I don't know what it's gonna take. We see it every week, nearly every week, something where we're like, this guy is a complete buffoon, and he still has a job as the head coach of this team. I don't know how they move forward with him after this year. No, I don't know who they're going to get. I know that's the first question that pops into everybody's brain when someone says, oh, just fire them. I don't know. I don't know who they'd go and get. All I know is that's not working. And I don't know if the players on his team want to play for him. It's one thing for a coach to not be great and, your players still want to play for you. Take the first year and a half of Dan Campbell's tenure where we didn't know if he was that great of a coach. He seemed like he could be, but the Lions weren't good for a while. And so there were people like, well, Dan Campbell, he's, a great, personality. People want to play for him, but he can't coach. Well, now we look at it and we say, well, actually, it looks like he can, and the players want to play for him. I mean, you see those post-game interviews, man. He's got them boys hyped. He's got me ready to run through a wall. I'm ready to bite off kneecaps, man. Shoot. Brandon Staley is clearly not that kind of guy. And I don't know any reason to really keep him around. And don't worry, we will be talking about the big news that I'm super excited about at the end of the episode. But first, let's move on to the best and worst of the week, shall we? If you're watching the clip that I'm probably going to post to TikTok of this segment, you will see clips. Unfortunately, it's just an audio-only podcast right now. So if you're listening on Spotify, do your best to imagine with me if you haven't seen the actual clip. Best! Courtland Sutton not seeing Marvin Mims on the TD celly, just bonking him in the head. Marvin Mims kind of standing there like, all right. Worst, Damar Hamlin being spotlighted during Taylor Rapp's injury. Okay, the NFL needs to stop doing this. Yes, we get it. He had probably the worst injury, most, scariest thing we've seen in a long time. Please stop showing the man's face whenever someone gets seriously injured. It really is in poor taste. Please stop. Best, Jerry Jeudy with a pump fake, getting the defender in the air and then running for the first down after catching the screen. That was pretty funny. Hearing him talk about it post-game was pretty funny, too. He just kind of went for it. He got the linebacker to jump on the fake pass and got, a decent chunk of yardage out of it. Most backyard football thing I've seen this week, which was pretty fun to watch. Worst, Kareem Jackson. Suspended, 4 games now for all these, violations of player safety rules. I understand it's a contact sport. I understand things happen, but we need to get that kind of stuff out of the game. He clearly doesn't care. It clearly isn't working. So whatever the next step is after this, if he keeps doing it, I don't know. Kind of reminds me of a Vontaze sort of situation. But that's different because I feel in my bones that Vontaze is actually a horrible person. That's just me, though. Best, Jalen Carter sliding under the center to try to intercept Pat Mahomes' spike on Monday night. If he would have got that, that would have been one of the best plays I've ever seen. But I admire him for going for it. That was pretty innovative. Worst, Chiefs wide receivers had the dropsies last night, man. Not just Marquez, who, is going to be the spotlight because he dropped, it would have probably could have been the game-winning touchdown with 1:46 left in the fourth. I mean, Kelsey dropped some last night. I mean, the last pass was going at Mach 5, but hit whoever it was in the hands. It happens. And you think about it, and you think about Kadarius Toney way back in week 1 dropping that pass that would have probably gone for so many yards, possibly a touchdown. And the conversation becomes man, are the Chiefs receivers good anymore? And I think the answer is I don't know, maybe. They got Travis Kelce and then a bunch of guys basically. I know Rashee Rice can pop off and has been doing okay this season, but I don't know. You don't have, ever since they lost Tyreek, literally they won a Super Bowl without him. So I'm not going to say they're bad without him. But if you saw the stat that says they're 32nd in points scored in the second half in the NFL, it means something. I mean, they took a loss last night because that means something. So Andy Reid, we trust him to get whatever that is sorted out. Receivers coach needs to just go back to basics, 2 hands on the football before you try to run with it. In my opinion on NFL injuries and stuff like that, we see a lot of quarterback injuries this year, and it's a lot of non-contact stuff. And I know the NFL keeps making rules to protect quarterbacks, and it really hinders defense to me. And I mean, I can understand trying to protect the bottom line, but what I don't get is if the injuries are going to happen anyway, then why are we making all these rules? Why are we constantly getting flags for things that, most people would look at and say that's not a penalty, and then it ends up affecting the game, and defensive players can't really do anything about it. But meanwhile, you got guys getting injured anyhow. Why do we have all the rules? It's tough to watch bad football and then also know that the rules kind of allow it or promote it. It's confusing as a fan. It probably sucks as a player, especially on defense. I mean, if the NFL really wants to do something about these injuries, probably start with this turf, man. I mean, honestly, players are popping their Achilles left and right. Like, come on. So that's just my 2 cents on that. But the best of the entire week, Matt Canada. The bad man is gone. He is gone out of Pittsburgh. Running back coach Eddie Faulkner takes charge of the offensive game plan for the weeks. And then he's also named the interim OC, while QB coach Mike Sullivan is in charge of play calling. I don't even care. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't know those guys' names before this week. I don't care who it is. It could be like my grandpa or whatever, dude. I don't care. Look at the rest of the Steelers' schedule. I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to read you the rest of the Steelers' schedule. We have the Bengals with no Burrow coming up. Then we have the Cards. Then we have the Patriots. Then the Colts. Bengals again, no Burrow. Then Seahawks. And then the Ravens is our last game. If we can turn it around, man, right now we're third in the AFC North. It's tight. The Browns are 7-3. I think so are the Ravens. Correct me if I'm wrong. Dude, it is on. It is on like Donkey Kong, dude. I am hype. I am ready. I'm ready to make this run, dude. Mike Tomlin never had a losing season, and this one won't be the first. Brandon Staley, you're next. Do you care, though? No. Did you ask? Probably not. Did I tell you anyway? Absolutely. Guys, it was a great week 11, except for the Steelers losing, of course. But Canada's gone, so there's that. Please enjoy your week, and I will see you guys on Thursday.